All right, everybody, welcome back to Unwired Appalachia podcast. Special guest here. Season's right up on top of us. I mean, we've been trying to do preview after preview, and then UPIKE schedule has been a little busy. Ours has been busy, but we've got tied in Grant Scott. Grant, a local guy here, played at Pikeville. Just kind of talk about the upcoming season. I know you guys are excited. Kickoff Thursday night. Just kind of talk about how things are going right now, getting ready to go into your senior season.
Yeah, man. I was just telling Coach Fipps yesterday about how comfortable I feel and like how it really feels like a family and like a brotherhood. In the spring, we brought in a lot of guys that are going to bring a lot of value and contribute a lot to like our defense and our offense. We lost some guys last year, but I think we're all really excited to finally hit somebody besides each other for once.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
always one of those great feelings once you get to line up against somebody else. But going into your senior year, just kind of talk about how what your role is like this year. Are you one of the leaders on the team? Are you one of the guys that come in and set the tone? Like, what's your leadership style for this team? Or do you even consider yourself a leader? Or are you just going in and playing your part? I mean, some guys love that leadership role. Some guys just want to play a part. Just kind of talk about your role as a senior on this team.
I've been blessed. I got blessed last year. The team voted me to be a captain, so I was a captain last year, and I still hold that now. And I mean, that's awesome. Just that knowing that the guys look at me like that and voted and picked me, that's just a blessing itself. And I just have a lot of respect for everyone. I don't really see I don't go out and like try and make huge plays. I just try and keep the ball moving, keep contributing in any way I can, and just try and help us win games.
Yeah, and then, seems like winning games has been, something that you guys have been really good
Yeah.
at the last few years. Just kind of talk about, you had that momentum the last couple of years, had a really good season last year. How you rolled that into this year and kind of what the expectations are.
Yeah. Last year we had an all right year. Didn't really finish the way we wanted to. We're hoping to capitalize on that this year and win the conference and hopefully make another playoff run. I think everyone's really excited. I think we missed out on one last year, and we're coming in pretty hot this year, I think.
Yeah, last year was kind of a transition year after, your all's quarterback, Lee Kirkland, was there forever. It seemed like you guys had good chemistry. You developed that with your quarterback last year. I think you had probably 500-600 yards receiving. Just kind of talk about your role in this offense. I mean, you do a little bit of everything, some blocking, you get out in space. I mean, just kind of talk about this offense and your role in it, because I think you play a very integral part.
Yeah. Well, when I got here, we ran the little Y and the tight end, and now Coach Fipps he trusts me enough to let me do both of those by myself. So I'm on the field the whole time we have the ball, and being a bigger guy, that is tough. I run a lot of routes. I block. I get out of breath, but but Coach Fipps makes sure I'm in shape. So I mean, it's a lot of fun. I've never had so much responsibility in the offense, and it's just fun.
Yeah, you've got, so the last couple of years, you've got some, seems like some conference attention, some awards and some recognition preseason. I'm sure you got them this year. Just kind of talk about getting recognition and, people around the nation in the NIA getting to see your type of game and everybody kind of respecting it. I think you were one of the Commonwealth players this year. Just kind of talk about getting some of this recognition. I know that's probably not what you play for, but it's got to be, a good feeling seeing that, people recognize the work you're putting in as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing for me is like people realizing that I work extremely hard to I put myself in this position. Like I don't do certain things to try and be in certain positions to try and make myself just the best person I can. And that's one thing Coach Fipps also talks to us about is off the field, like becoming a better man off the field. And I think that has a big play to how you are on the field as well.
Yeah, and I think that leads into another question you talked about on the field and off the field. Seems like you guys, even this summer, while working for practices and getting ready for the season, you're out in the community, you're doing things, you're helping clean up. If something arises, you guys are on there. Talk about how big that is to get involved with the community, no matter seasons, if you are preparing for the season or whatever. It seems like you guys are taking time to give back. Just talk about how important that is to you and the team in general.
Yeah, we preach about servant leadership all the time, and especially like being from here, it's like that. It's awesome. Everyone's happy to see us, and Coach Fipps has done a really good job at changing the image of the UPIKE football team, and I think all the guys like that aren't from here, that are from California or wherever, I think they really enjoy being in the community and seeing people give back and give it, like, people are nice and everything. Everyone has a good time.
Yeah, and getting back to the team aspect of it a little bit, I'm kind of all over the place
Yeah.
today, but just kind of talk about, I always say the Coach Phipps offense, the offensive line, sometimes gets overlooked. I think those guys do an excellent job in his offense. It's such a fast paced offense, and they're always moving. You stepping in and helping block here and there and helping those guys out. Just kind of talk about what the kind of job they do, and some of the things that you see this offensive line, do put in the work and maybe get overlooked a little bit because I think that's been a staple since Coach Phipps has been here.
Yeah, that's also an awesome part about being a tight end is, like, I do get to score touchdowns and catch the ball and, like, get recognition some more than the O-line does,
Yeah.
but I'm also down there with them blocking and everything. I see how hard they work, and also Coach Davis, our O-line coach, he's awesome, and he does really well with everyone and trying very schematic or yeah, the scheme. He knows the scheme really well, and he tries to get us to do that, and, yeah, it's just a lot of fun being with him. My
Yeah.
brother was offensive lineman too, so
Yeah, that was all. I always thought that was a cool dynamic that you two got to play together.
yeah.
While you mentioned it, just kind of talking about that, how cool that was, that experience to, actually get to play with your older brother and seeing him out there, work and getting to work alongside him. That's not often you get to see that in college.
Yeah. I mean, that's my big brother is yeah, it's awesome. It's just awesome. Yeah, it was a blessing.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Just getting back, you also mentioned you were one of the local guys and giving back, but it seems like UPIKE is starting to build that tradition where local guys are wanting to stay. They're wanting to help build this program. Just talk about what that means for you to help build this program and see it grow and go to the next level. Even when maybe after this year, even when you're gone. I mean, I think that's important.
Yeah. I think it is important to keep the local guys around and, like, show that, like, we can, like, guys around here, like, sometimes we're overlooked and maybe because we're in the mountains, but to get out there and do that and show people that you can do that and we represent just the whole mountain, it's awesome. And yeah.
Yeah, man. And I guess the last thing, senior year, just kind of talk what you want to get out of this season. I know playoffs is a big goal. Is it all team oriented, or do you what's some of the goals you want to get out this season? Is that you want to get 500-600 yards receiving? I mean, we just kind of what some of the things you want to get out of the season, whether it's personal or if it's all team oriented.
Most of my goals, all of my goals are team oriented. Like I said, I don't go to, like, I don't really play for stats. I don't care about that stuff that as much. I care about winning, and I think all the rest of it just comes with it. Like, if I can help contribute to wins, the stats will come. And so yeah, I want us to win conference. I want us to make a run in the playoffs, and yeah, just have a lot of fun this year.
Awesome, man. Congrats. And
Thank you.
just I can't wait to see you guys suit up. I know I won't be there Thursday night. That's a long trip for
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Good luck on that. We'll get you as soon as you guys come back. And we appreciate your time so much. And we'll take a quick break and we'll get Coach Phipps on up as well. So thanks so much, Grant. We appreciate your time so much and good luck on the season.
Thank you.
Another special guest, Coach Phipps, one of our favorite people to talk to. Season's right here, Coach. I know you guys have been busy getting ready. We've kind of tried to be going back and forth to try to schedule this. Thanks so much for fitting us in before the season opener. And I guess while we're talking about it, just kind of open up talking about the season opener, how you guys been getting ready, and what you looking forward
Yeah,
to Thursday night.
for sure. So you tell all the fellas that when they come in here that you
A
want your
couple
favorites.
of
Yeah,
'em. A
I
couple
get it.
of
I
'em.
get
Maybe
it.
not. Maybe not all
I
of
get
'em.
it. You got to have a go-to line. So no, I'm kidding. We always love to be here with y'all. It's great. Yeah, it's crazy. We usually don't play 0 week. We usually have a real long fall camp, but we've had some transition to quarterback position, and we just thought that going out to Little Rock, Arkansas, to Arkansas Baptist College, and playing was going to be an awesome opportunity to break some guys in on the road. I always prefer your first ball game to be on the road. Get your guys isolated, get them off campus, get them in the hotel, and kind of get things going. So a little bit of a long trip, 10 hours, but when we were in the Mid-South, when it was 22 schools in football, we'd go to South Florida all the time, which was further. So we'll head out about 4 a.m. tomorrow morning, stop in E-Town for some chicken biscuits and then Jonesboro, Arkansas for some lunch, and have a walkthrough at Harding University, a place I know near and dear. I played there and got a chance to coach there earlier in my career. And then we'll get to Arkansas and to the hotel there downtown. And it sounds like we're going to have a good group of folks from right here in Pike County coming out to watch. And so there's a lot of positives about this group. One of my favorite groups I've ever coached through a fall camp. And not necessarily because they're the most talented, but just you talk about on time, accountable, no disciplinary issues, no, the stuff that just kind of goes when you get a big group of folks together. And so we feel really fortunate with this coaching staff and the support staff we have and this roster to really get some things going.
Yeah, and I mentioned it to Grant a minute ago, but even during all this, all the work y'all putting in to get ready for the season, you see your guys out in the community. I've seen them myself. I don't have to ask anybody what they're out doing. I see them.
Yeah.
Talk about how important that is, even taking time from that just to make sure, if somebody needs help or whatever's going on. Because right now is the time of year, I'm sure a lot of people would be like, hey, they're busy. They're getting ready for the season. If they can't help right now, no big deal. That's not what you guys are doing, though.
No, we've had a few service opportunities. So we did some work in and around downtown and in the flower beds and different things like that with some of our older guys just the other day. We've had some other opportunities to get out and help on the trails and pull some brush and tree limbs and stuff there with folks from the city and then we've started our back already. I mean, the first week we were in town, we started back with our Fist Bump Friday deal at the elementary schools, and we really believe in a Dr. King quote: "Everybody can be great because everyone can serve." And if you're not about servant leadership, if you're not about helping people, there's a bunch of rosters in and around the SEC and the Big Ten right now that are getting paid 20, 30, 40, $60 million rosters nationally. And, I think they're missing out. I think they're missing out on some things. Trust me, those guys getting paid, I don't begrudge them, but I think there's some life skills that our guys are learning about being real men and how to pull the rope when it needs to be pulled. And so we're proud of those guys, and our guys don't blink. They don't blink. Matter of fact, we got guys that volunteer for it. We got some guys who are better verbally in different situations. We got some guys that are just hosses that are, the pack mules, and that's what they want to do. So we kind of find where our guys fit in terms of the service piece. Generally, we have over 5,000 hours of community service. This year alone, before school started, we had over 1,000. So we're hoping to kind of break our own record in terms of those things. And then as an athletic department, as the athletic director, it's, we had over 10,000 hours of community service in the mountains. So a lot of big things for our guys and gals in the department in terms of those things.
Yeah, that's just so great to hear. It's so great when you go outside and you see the guys out there and they're making a difference. The youngsters of the community look up to those guys, and rightfully so. But getting back into the season, that's what we're going to talk mostly about. I'm sure, or at least that's my plan. Who knows with us? It might go anywhere. But
That's right.
but just kind of, for those listening, just kind of identify some of the leaders that you have on this team offensively, maybe defensively. Just kind of start, some of these guys that people might recognize from last season and that you're looking to help lead this team, because, you can't do it alone. You got to have the guys getting out there and pushing your message with each other.
Yeah, so we really start on defense. For the first time, I think our strength of our team is the defensive unit. Offensively, we've been a little bit older in past few years, and those defensive guys have kind of grown and trickled up through the ranks. And, if you look at our linebacking core right now, we're a 3-4 odd structure defense. So we got 4 guys who are all very capable of being all conference. Matter of fact, I believe all 4 of them have had some sort of postseason accolade from freshman of the year on into some different all conference teams. So, Chuck Moore comes back off an Achilles injury, undersized guy. Some of the better coaches in the league think he was the most dynamic dude 2 years ago when we made the playoffs. Levi Evans, he's back for a 3rd season with us, and, full scholarship kid out of Johnson City area, Kingsport, and the Tri-Cities, and, started off at UT Tennessee Martin on full ride, came here on a partial, was doing big things. Trevor Carter from right up the road in Ironton, who was a full ride, Rivals 3-star guy at University of Cincinnati, transfers to us. He's playing one of those outside backer positions. And then Naj Belgard, who is kind of the face of our program in a lot of ways. He's a guy, both parents are, Haitian immigrants from the greater Atlanta area. He comes here and fits, and it's one of our team captains. So those guys have done an excellent job. Matter of fact, 3 of those 4 guys are kind of that captain conversation constantly. So I think those guys are kind of the heart of the defense. Landon Rowe, who Pikeville product, went to EKU, came back to the house here. Was all conference last year as a head up nose, 2-gap guy, does a great job. We got a couple young guys at defensive end who have stepped in and are going to do big things for us. A couple junior college transfers there. And then our defensive secondary, Quincy Clark, a guy from South Georgia who's been here a couple years, is a really dynamic player. Won a state championship there at Thomas County Central, knows how to win, and a guy who loves the mountain here from Las Vegas, Nevada. Deej Savage is a safety for us who, got a tattoo to represent Pike County here recently. He loves it here. Yeah. And he's a guy that's trying to figure out a way to stay in and around the program and around the region when he graduates, and then we're kind of got 5 or 6 guys that could really help us at corner. When you're good on defense, when you got length and size and can run on defense, those guys tend to really be about 2/3 of your special teams. Yeah. So if you flip it over, we've got all-conference punter returning, who's also going to get the nod at starting quarterback this week, and Alex Hatton from Mount Sterling, Kentucky there in Montgomery County. And, we've got another kind of East Tennessee guy and a kicker that's done big time for us and been all conference. So, I think you look at our kicking game, it's going to be top notch. Austin Meyer, our special teams coordinator, played for me at Missouri Southern, been a bunch of places as an analyst, quality control type roles. He's probably the best special teams coach at our level. And, I would hate to lose him, but I see a big future for that guy. So, those 2 phases of the game we feel really good about. And then offensively, you look at the offensive line right now, we're big, we're athletic, probably the biggest we've been, and, brought in 2 offensive tackles who are helping us at the transfer level. But, Zach Brooks right here, who's a local product, who went to UVA Wise out of Pike Central, came home. He's starting for us at center. We got some other East Tennessee guys and some Georgia guys that are, Patrick Crowley, and some of those guys are really helping us. Zach Turk, starting at left tackle for us. He's been with us a couple years after transferring from Carson Newman. We've got an O-line that can really go. And then Grant Scott, that tight end who's, a blocker, can play in the slot, in the wing, attached, was 3rd-team All-American last year. Brother was 1st-team All-American. As an offensive lineman for us a couple years back. Both played at different schools, Grant at Pikeville and his brother at Belfry. And, but those guys brought a huge value to our program. And so, hopefully Grant will have a chance to be 2nd or 1st team as a tight end if he stays healthy and we can get him the ball and he can block well. And then in the backfield, we've got 2 guys that can really, really go. So, our running back, who's been one of the more dynamic guys in the league the past few years, is Amon Williams. Took a little bit of a step back as a sophomore with some injuries, but coming back this year, he was still 1st-team all-conference on 2 teams, the all-purpose back and 1st-team all-conference running back. So, Denmark, Georgia guy, coming into his 3rd year, we see big things again for him if he can stay healthy. That's always the key, right, at the running back position. And Jaden Peppers is a guy that has been a social media phenom for us. He's the guy to kind of coined the NAI Oregon stuff, and he's all over the place, getting a lot of love and a lot of opportunities for exposure there. But he's a really kind of our kind of running back in the air raid that can catch it, that can run it. And really those 2 running backs could start for anybody in our conference or maybe nationally. And then at the receiver positions, we've got X receiver, our left outside receiver, who started off at the University of Cincinnati, big 6'4" cat that can really go. So we got a guy from University of Cincinnati. We got a guy to start off in Maryland, a slot receiver. Grant, who was an All-American, and then our Z receiver, Miguel. Miguel's doing a great job. He's been here for 3 years for us. And, so we got some guys from all over the country, but some guys right here at the heart of Pike County and Central Appalachia and the mountains that really mean a lot to us. And then, Alex Hatton's going to get a chance to get the first nod at quarterback, like I said, but, he's a guy that's been in the quarterback room and him and Caden and in Jackson. All three of those guys, were here in the spring with us, and then a couple of high school kiddos. But kind of the unsung heroes of this whole deal through fall camp, especially this last 10 days, has been our scout team guys. We've got a bunch of really good developmental kids who just aren't there yet. My encouragement to kids from this region, the state, is that you got to go someplace to put your feet down. And our guys have come here and said, hey, listen, there's some all-conference, all-American caliber guys in front of me. I'm not there yet, but I'm going to wait my turn. I'm going to get in the weight room. I'm going to do those things. Good things come to those who wait. We all know that. And, nothing worthwhile is easy. And so we tell these guys that will sit here and develop and work with us that you're going to have a chance. And, this is an instant gratification culture. Sometimes guys come in here and they just can't, little egos can't hack it. And, I was a big ego and I had to hack it. And so we try to get these guys to understand that. So that's kind of our roster in a nutshell right now.
Yeah, and that was a great in-depth analysis of all those guys. When I hear a lot of those names, I hear, first thing comes to mind, a lot of these guys have high motors. They never stop. They never stop. But then the more you go on and you're talking about both sides of the ball and even special teams, the one thing that kind of stood out to me, the depth you have this year. It seems like you got a little bit more depth this year.
We're probably more depth-oriented than talented. We've had some top-end guys at different positions that were probably, I hate to say it, a little bit, above some of the guys we've got in certain spots, but we've never had the depth we have right now. So that's pretty intriguing. And so there's that depth, that motor you're talking about. But then I try to tell people right here, like, I get it. And in this area of the world, if you're from one holler over, you ain't from here, right? But we call local Ironton to Johnson City.
Yes.
And if you look at our roster right now, I talked about a bunch of guys right down
Yes.
The 4-lane, right down 23 from Kingsport on up to Ashland and Ironton.
Yeah, and and getting back to it, when you mentioned Williams, that freshman year, he was such a dynamic player, really dynamic last year too. But like you said, maybe a couple of injuries, he didn't have the.
Yeah.
Now he's got the guys around him. How does that help? Because some people, when they see that, they're like, "Oh, well, that's not going to help him." But most of the time, I think you got more talented players around you. It kind of helps you.
He took a beating early in the season. Like, we go down there and play Georgetown, who's top 10 in the country at the time, and he's got 35 touches. And, he had about 20 on the ground, about 15 through the air. And he was beat up, banged up coming out of that the rest of the season. So, early in the season, if you can, spread the ball around, kind of like John Stockton, if you can get the ball out on the perimeter to a bunch of guys and let them, take the beating a little bit off some guys, then that's how you're going to stay healthy. And, we say we've got depth, but we still only have 24 scholarships. Division I has 105 now. So if you look at it, you're still one injury away at certain spots from going from being really, really talented and explosive to dead average.
Yeah, and just kind of talk about it if you can. Hatton is the name that maybe a lot of people don't know around here because he's stepping into a new role, a starter role. Eyes are going to be on him. What can people expect from him? I mean, is he one of these guys, a big arm? How would you describe him for somebody who has not?
Well, he was all conference punter last year, so he's used to being kind of bullets flying around him. It's different when you're quarterback.
Yes.
But he's a big frame and much more in the, kind of sub-Lee Kirkland model. Lee was, 6'6", 270 when he played for us. You're talking about a guy who's probably 6'4", 235 and understands the offense. And I really believe in our system, it's tough to come in and unseat a guy that's been in the room, in the quarterback room and has the answers. And that's always been the case in the air raid. If you look at it when Mike Leach was at Texas Tech and he was at Washington State and some of those places, there would always be a 4th or 5th year guy who ends up starting. Well, when you're sitting in the room, you have the answers to the test that transfer doesn't when he comes in. It's pretty tough. So we feel pretty fortunate. But Caden Henson, right behind him, who's kind of a middle of Ohio kind of guy. He can really run, really throw. And he's not far off. And then, Jackson Ovard, who was a transfer from out west, a Reno, Nevada kid from Feather River Community College. He's our third quarterback right now. And I could very well see him pushing. This may be a year where we have 2 or 3 different starters, and there's not just one anointed quarterback as it has been with, Kirkland and Malone the past few years.
Yeah. Yeah, and, the other thing is, you mentioned that air raid, and I always tell people, in your system, your guys up front, they never get enough praise. I think those guys do such a great job. But sometimes when people talk about error, they don't even mention the offensive line
No,
because
they don't.
it's going so fast. Talk about how important it is to have those guys. They got to be in shape to play that speed and get up and down the field. I mean, sometimes I think that your guys get overlooked, and most of the time I always try to tell you when I think they're doing a great job because most years those guys are really key because you can still run it, you do whatever you want out of that.
Well, the interesting thing is I played offensive line. I was a left tackle in college, so I really call plays to protect those guys, to get those guys comfortable and up and going and have success. It's not about, dropping back and letting the quarterback just, spin it, or the running back run it, So for me, when I'm looking at who we recruit, we want high motor guys, selfless guys. If you got 6 different wristbands and, 2 different pairs of socks on and a back plate and a visor, you're not my kind of offensive lineman. We want guys who need their knee braces, their helmet, and their gloves, and let's go to work. And so, we've got great offensive line coach in Gray Davis, who, has been with me now 3 years, spent a cup of coffee with the Denver Broncos and started 38 games at Nevada and, was there at Colorado State when those guys went over. Actually played for Hal Mummy's son, who's quarterback coach Matt Mummy, and then a good friend of mine, Bill Best. So, Gray does a great job with him. He's super, super sharp, smart. I mean, a savant, talking like a 33 ACT, Ivy League offers, decided to go to Nevada. So, he recruits guys kind of in his mold, his model. And, obviously I get final say, but, I don't have to trump many decisions. Our guys in the offensive and defensive room understand who we want and what we want. We want great people before they're great players. And, so I think that those guys don't get enough praise, but they get a lot of love from me because, I was in that same situation. So, and I think it's kind of, not as common to see head coaches who are offensive linemen.
Yes.
And, so I think those guys understand that they've got a place at the table. They've got a voice. They got an advocate in me, program wide. So I think those are good questions though about those big uglies. Okay, they're the real skill players. They're real skill players.
Yeah, and they have to have the toughness, and that sets the tone for the team and everything. But just switching gears because we're trying to talk about the whole season, right?
Yeah.
And just kind of talk about your schedule. I mean, some of the big games that are going to be important. We know there's so many conference games that every one of those games are so important. But how do you kind of build your schedule getting ready for that conference because those games mean so much? Just kind of talk about the mindset. Is it you want some tests some weeks, you want some weeks where you maybe not have to kill yourself, or what's your thinking on that?
It's interesting because the SEC, you're going to play 12 games. Big Ten, you're going to play 12 games. I think they're playing 9 conference games now. We play 6, so we've got to come up with 4 to 5 games. For me this year, we still had a contract with Cumberland, Tennessee, who beat us in the last second last year. We beat them the year before. We're going to go down there to Lebanon, right outside Nashville. It'll be a great trip. Tim Mathis, the head coach there, is a good friend. And, they're gonna test our metal a little bit. They're receiving votes right now. We're going to play Campbellsville here at home. That's kind of been a rivalry a little bit. We beat them by a point. They beat us by a point. We lose by a point. So we come back next year and, hopefully we get them by, more than 1 point. But, they're number 14 in the country right now. So you're going to test your metal.
Absolutely.
And, then we turn around and we pick up Bethel, who's receiving votes from Tennessee. They needed a game. We needed a game. And then we have an opportunity to play a brand new school who will come in the AAC next year, Andrew out of Georgia. Now, they're not a brand new school, but brand new program to the NAI. And so that'd be another game that I think they're from the state of Georgia. They're going to have cats, right? They're going to have dudes.
Absolutely.
And then we play Arkansas Baptist. So this week against Arkansas Baptist is going to be an interesting game. It's a 10-hour trip. We get to go out there. I went to college about 50 miles from there. So it's kind of like going home for me. But the opportunity to just come out there and play against a historically black college, you're going to have athletes, in a high school stadium that is significant to the history of this country and my roster. We've got a lot of African-American gentlemen on our team, and, we're going to play at Little Rock Central High School, where in 1957, the color barrier was broke there by nine kiddos. 9 kiddos and their family walked in that high school stadium being spit on, cussed on, and they were the first African-American students to walk into a school that wasn't segregated.
Yep.
So it's not lost on us to play in that stadium and understand that. And I think that's big for not just our, minority student athletes, but all our student athletes understand that. And we're an inclusive group. And I will tell you that this area of the world is much more inclusive than people would ever imagine.
Yes.
And so I think our kids are excited to go play in that high school stadium. And it's going to be fun. So that's kind of our non-conference schedule. Somebody asked me the other day, where's Georgetown? That's a good question. Like, I don't care if this gets replayed, but we were going to play them. And then, they reached out to me and said, "Hey coach, we're coming back from Florida, long trip. We don't want to come play you at your place 2 hours away, so they kind of dodged us this year. So hopefully we'll get Georgetown back on the schedule someday, but not this year. So, and then our conference schedule is what it usually is. We're going to play Reinhardt, who's the class of the league. It's, 3 years ago, we lost them double overtime down there.
Mm-hmm.
They come up here, we beat on them pretty good. We go down there, they beat up on us pretty good. But that's been the de facto conference championship game. And then, you got Bluefield coming over here, and Dewey Lusk does a great job. Longtime head coach at UVA Wise and Bluefield. We go to Kentucky Christian this year, who's much improved. We go to Union, who's much improved. Rio's got a brand new coach up there. We got to go up there darn near on the Bob Evans farm and play. And then, I guess I'm probably missing one person there. I can't remember who it is. Oh, Point. Then we got to go to Point in Georgia, which is always a tough place to play. So that's an 11-game schedule. But if you can win the conference, you get an automatic bid.
Yeah.
Now, our hopes is that even if we don't win the conference, then we get an at-large bid. But we don't want to leave any doubt out there. We want to win the conference. So,
Absolutely.
But we will not sacrifice who we are on campus in the community to win. This is not a win-at-all-cost place. This is we win by a byproduct of doing the right things for the right reasons.
Absolutely. And, before we, move on, you mentioned the opener and how historic that is.
Mm-hmm.
How do you use that to teach your guys? I mean, are you going to pull them aside afterwards before the game? Kind of, what's your mindset with that? Like, how do you use that to teach your guys of how, significant that place is? Like you said, not just in the history of the, in the history of this country. I mean, that is huge.
I think it's pretty simple. We talk about it, a couple times through fall camp about where we're going, what we're doing. And then there's a museum right across the street from the high school. That high school was built, I think, in 1927. That happened in 57. That school still stands there today. And so we're going to have an opportunity to go visit that museum Thursday morning because we've got an 8 o'clock kick. We'll get them up out of the hotel room, have breakfast, run over there, and let them bebop around and see it. And, we went to the Legacy Museum in Montgomery, Alabama a few years ago. We've been to the American Lynching Monument in Montgomery when we played down there. We've been to Lookout Mountain. We've been to a bunch of different things. When we go on the road, we try to do some things with the guys. And some of our kiddos, who hop on the bus, they've really never left this region. And, they've never been to Arkansas. They've never been that. I mean, it borders Kentucky, but let's be honest, that's a far off land.
That is.
When you think about it. But, I think our kids are excited about that. Now, what I've really beat in their brain, it's going to be hot as Hades out there. It was 57 degrees this morning when we practiced, and it was 106 a couple of days ago at kickoff time there. So, that's who we're battling a little bit. But, I tip my hat to the historically black colleges in this country. They've served a great mission and purpose. Here in this state, it's been Kentucky State. So I think our guys are excited to just play somebody different. We typically get into this routine where you play the same opponents year after year, but to just play somebody different, go see something different for our guys. We'll play a game in Georgia this year. We'll play some games in Kentucky. We'll play a game in Ohio. We'll play a game in Tennessee and then Arkansas. I mean, that's pretty cool. We've touched about every state that touches Kentucky at that point. So, but it's just a really interesting thing. I think, Bill Curry was the head coach at the University of Kentucky. He's got a great poem called The Huddle. And he talks about that the huddle is what America could be at its finest. And I believe that, there's nothing like a football locker room. Basketball locker room special, soccer locker room special, baseball, softball, you name it, they're special, but they're not like the football locker room. There's not 100+ guys trying to figure it out. There's not a travel party of 85 on a bus all the way to Arkansas. It's different. And, I think that's what keeps me engaged with it. Year to year, it's a different set of problems. Year to year, it's a different set of issues. Year to year, it's a different set of strengths and personalities and people who are going to go throughout not just Pike County and Eastern Kentucky, but throughout this country, this world, and be change makers. And, I heard old head coach tell me once, he said, the hope is when you retire that you had less bums than the other head coaches. And I'll tell you right now, there ain't no bums on this team. They're a bunch of stand-up dudes.
Absolutely, and that would be a perfect way to end it, but I got a few more left. That was just such a great answer. I was compelled on that one because it's so true, though. I mean, all those things are so true. But we've talked about the road, we talked about the schedule, home games.
Yeah.
So the last few years, you've turned these things into events. It's like once somebody comes, I think they're going to come back.
Yeah.
How do you get some people who maybe watching this, maybe haven't came out to a game? What are they going to experience when they come in there? I mean, because you guys do it right. You get the kids involved. There's something for everybody.
Mhm.
There's fireworks, but there's so many things. The marching band, like it's not just the football; it's everything involved. Talk about how y'all have built that up because that is very unique to the NAI, especially covering other teams. They don't do that.
Right.
You guys do that.
Strength. So like any ball coach, I'm a man without a country. I've worked in Texas, Arkansas, Alabama, Mississippi, Montana, Missouri, and Kentucky. And so every one of those places, I saw something in the game day operations. And Kelly Wells essentially let me be the assistant athletic director for football when we said we wanted to really build something here. And then when I became the AD, we expanded on it with Bradley Yoder, our assistant AD, and Tyler Carter, admin guy. And so I built it really in terms of what I wanted for my children, not my players,
Yes.
for my 3 daughters who are now 17, 12, and about to be 10 next week. And so the fireworks were here, but I said, that's cool. We're keeping it. But Pikey needs to be engaging. We need to have a Cubs club for these kids and run out and grow them to future Bears. And now you see those jerseys. When we have Jersey Day at the elementary schools, there might not be as many UK jerseys, as UPIKE jerseys or vice versa. I mean, but there's more than Louisville. There's more than Ohio State. There's more than University of Tennessee.
And there's more and more.
Yeah.
Time.
So that was a big part of it. The music. When I got here, and this isn't a slap at anybody that, was before me, but people said, hey, we came to a game. There were a few cuss words in the music. Didn't like it for my kids. And, so I said, we're going to make it family friendly where people will come buy a hot dog, buy a T-shirt, tire their kids out in the bouncy house and take them home and be able to watch another college football game on TV while the kids sleep on the couch. And so that was a big part of what we've done. And I will tell you that the atmosphere is not just those things, the fireworks, the band, the dancers, the cheer team. It's also Fist Bump Friday. It's also being in the community. Our guys used to talk about, Coach, we walk in Walmart and people are running the other way from us.
Yeah.
Now we walk in Walmart and kids are, running up and tackling our legs and hugging us because they came to youth football camp and because we were there in the schools for Reading with the Bears. I mean, we went out and read a couple weeks ago to 11 different elementary schools in the region. Those things are engaging people to come, not because they want to see UPIKE win, not because they want to see us throw the football or make stops on defense or kick field goals, but because they want to support someone who invested in their children somewhere else.
Yes.
So once again, it's a whole ecosystem. There's connectivity to it all. And I encourage more and more head coaches to get a 30,000-foot view. Like, it ain't about you. Listen, I mean, nobody's ever going to talk about me in the same breath as Nick Saban, okay? But they're going to talk about my players in the same breath as they did Tim Couch and Jared Lorenzen. I believe that because our kids are investing in someone's lives right here in the community. And so I think it goes way back to that service piece, way at the beginning of our conversation, that is the cornerstone of who we are. And I'm not perfect, and I've got a lot of flaws, but I know what matters most to me is that our guys go away from this place knowing who they are as men.
And I think that's Such a great thing, and that's another one we could have ended on with another great answer. But I
Hey, when
got
we bust this out for TikTok, we'll have good little segments.
I got at least one more. Just kind of talk about, all that stuff when this kicks off and everybody's why should the fans keep coming out? All these guys, you mentioned it's not all about the wins and the losses, but you've seen the kids go up to your players when they're out in public, whether it's Walmart or whether it's walking down the street. As a coach, what does that mean to you? I mean, seeing that because, like you said, they could run the other way, but they're going and embracing these guys. They're making a difference. So not only that, the program's making a difference
Yeah.
in itself when you're doing that. Just kind of talk about how that just feels because, that's something that not everybody gets to see, something that not everybody gets to experience when your guys get treated like that. Because I mean,
Yeah.
you talk about them giving back to the community, but the community's giving back to them as well.
It's kind of like being a proud parent. It's kind of like being a proud parent. I'm proud of Kinsley and Caroline and Embry when they do something right. Um, you know, we've got kind of an interesting family. Me and my girls, and they hear a lot, they see a lot. They probably shouldn't as coaches' daughters. Um, so they're kind of the meter. When I know we're really doing stuff right when our players get to their senior year, and there's tears as fall camp starts in my house.
Yeah.
I know that Grant Scott meant something to my family, so that's a little bit of the meter. But it's like a proud dad. Like I look at it and go, okay, those guys share my DNA now, and I share their DNA. They invested in me as much as I invested in them. I'm a better person because of them, and hopefully they're a little bit of a better person because of our program. I won't say because of me, but because of UPIKE. And let me tell you something. This is a UPIKE way. In 1889, Presbyterian missionaries showed up here to the mountains to bring education to the mountain children. Today, in 2026, we bring the mission field to the mountains. We bring kids from America Samoa. We bring kids from Alaska. I mean, literally on our roster this year, we got guys from Miami to Alaska. And so I think it is the UPIKE way. It's not the Corey Fipps football way. It's not the UPIKE football Bears way. It is the UPIKE way and has been since 1889. We've just, taken football and said, how do we mirror the mission statement of this institution? How do we mirror the mission of the mountains? How do we mirror the DNA of these people? And whether you're from here or not, you fall in love with this place. And that's a testament not to my guys. That's a testament to the people that live in the mountains.
Yeah. Awesome. Last question. Swear. There's another great.
All right.
Good eating though. Last one. This one is just simply what do you want to see out of this season when it kicks off Thursday? From Thursday to the end of the season, what do you want out of your group? What do you want out of this season?
Well, I think in that first week, I want to see guys pursue the football on defense. I want to see guys block to the whistle on offense. I want to see guys mix and mingle on special teams and give their best effort. I think for the duration of the season, I want to, whether it's the last regular season game is it for us, or we are way deep in the national playoffs, I want to say that this team reached its full potential as humans, as men, as mentors to each other in the community and on this campus, okay, and on the football field. So that's a pretty, coach talk kind of deal. But the reality is if I can look up and say, like 2 years ago, we were national playoffs at 6-6, we did something. But I'm telling you, if we go 9-2 and we're a bunch of bums, then I don't want to coach those guys either. So there's got to be more to it. Now, I'm not going to stand at the pearly gates and be asked, how many NAI football games did you win?
Yeah.
I'm going to be asked, how did you use the game of football to create men who served me?
Yes.
That's it.
Awesome. What a perfect answer. There were so many of them we could have ended on. That was a great one to do.
Yeah, man.
Coach, good luck Thursday night. And good luck throughout the season. Anytime you want to come talk about something.
Yeah, let's talk athletic department stuff next time because there's 25 sports and mine's just one of them. The other 24 are just as dynamic.
Absolutely. So for Corey Vance, for Coach Corey Fipps, thanks so much. Good luck on the season. Unwired Appalachia. Check us out on our social medias, our newspapers, all the stuff. We'll see you soon. I'm ready to whack.